Now, this is very exciting. In case you haven't heard, Hunger Games starlet Jennifer Lawrence made a big announcement yesterday.
I'm going to take the next year off. I'm going to be working with this organization I'm a part of, Represent Us.
What is that?
It's just trying to get, young people engaged politically, on a local level.
That's awesome.
It doesn't have anything to do with partisans. It's just anti-corruption stuff, trying to pass state-by-state laws that can help prevent corruption, fix our democracy.
That's all. Wow. Well, we also learned today that actor George Clooney is donating $500,000 for the March for Our Lives. That's promoted as a totally student-organized gun control rally. And the Ocean's 11 actor, the tequila baron, he's been sniffing around politics for 20-plus years. Let's not forget, in 2016, he raised $15 million in one weekend. That's pretty good for Hillary Clinton and other Democrats. And, of course, he was horrified by that.
It is an obscene amount of money. The Sanders campaign, when they talk about it, is absolutely right. It's ridiculous that we should have this kind of money in politics. I agree completely.
Of course, you got to love Clooney because he went out to say, if asked, he'd engage in this obscene act again and keep raising money. I mean, it's legal, so he's going to keep doing it. In 2016, Tinseltown thought that they could continue their Hollywood on the Potomac routine by putting all their chips on Hillary. After all, they'd helped her husband, who had been a fairly successful two-term president, minus that impeachment thing, and they stayed in the Lincoln bedroom, they flocked to the White House Correspondents' Dinner, it was all hunky-dory. But Hollywood was cut out of the picture under George W., and Hollywood mocked him endlessly and viciously. So when the most left-wing president ever was elected, Barack Obama, it was Nirvana for all those entertainers who had felt disrespected and offended by the very existence of Bush, and certainly of conservatives. But with the Obamas, they celebrated from the beginning. The inauguration.
Please welcome Beyonce.
Birthdays.
The President of these United States.
White House parties.
In the White House.
On this. Even in the Situation Room. That is a cool photo. All the way to the end.
For 8 years, you kept your word and your calm. You are the epitome of cool.
They were having fun. Come on. Doesn't that look fun? And it was sad to see President Obama go because he echoed their worldview. And as Samuel Jackson said, he had that Hollywood cool factor. Let's face it. Trump, even though he had a hit show with The Apprentice, he was never really part of their world because on some key issues, he thought differently, and he dared to speak up. When so many in the entertainment arena put all their money, their chips on Hillary, they raised so much money like Clooney and Anna Wintour. Let's face it, when Trump was elected, they were embarrassed and furious. Most in the entertainment and sports in crowd, they see Trump supporters as either ignorant, racist, or Bible-thumping fanatics. George Clooney, to his credit, put blame where it belonged, on Hillary. He told the Daily Beast, after she lost, "It was frustrating because I never saw her elevate her game. I never saw it. And I had a lot of liberal friends who were like, she's not good at this." Well, I agree, George. And let's face it, top-tier celebs surrounded by PR people, managers, agents, and millions of adoring fans, they can get pretty used to coasting on political cliches. They're used to dishing it out against conservatives, sometimes in the vilest of terms, without ever having to explain themselves. and without ever getting called on it. So when celebs wade into politics, as we're seeing today with Jennifer Lawrence and George Clooney, well, they win fans on their political side, but then they can alienate many more. You think of what happened, for instance, when the NFL, kind of star, well, they're all stars, Colin Kaepernick, refused to stand for the anthem. What happened was he spurred other players to do the same. Well, then the NFL lost tens of millions of dollars in advertising revenue during the regular season as viewership took a sizable hit and attendance was down. People were furious. So if too heavily infected by politics, the sports, stage, and screen, they kind of just become like everything else in Washington, nasty and polarizing. Call me crazy, but I think we need more, not fewer places where we can gather, cheer, and even boo, without worrying about politics. Everyone has the right to speak their mind, but stars on screen and those on the field should know that when they traffic in hateful political vitriol, they're likely to get some serious pushback, just like the rest of us in politics or political analysis. Well, now it's your turn, Clooney and Jennifer Lawrence. Why don't you explain beyond just epithets or bromides or cliches or sometimes maybe insults, your own ideas on how to grow the economy, how to increase the standard of living for the poor and middle-class Americans, how to decrease violence and drug addiction. You see, if you really want to get into the political ring, really, you can't just talk to your fans or even write a check. You need to be daring enough to go into unfamiliar and even hostile territory and answer tough questions. Think about Oprah. Maybe for a millisecond, she mulled dipping her toe into the political pond, and then she quickly pulled it out. There were rumors of Kid Rock running for the Senate, rumors that The Rock may hit the trail. Well, now Clooney, who's worth hundreds of millions of dollars, good on him for earning that cash, he's shoveling money at gun control. It's his right to do that. But as Democrats watch, worry, and hope that, someone's their next Obama, maybe even Clooney, because he's a star with a killer smile and that cool factor, got to think about what the repercussions will be. Are celebrities really the best candidates? At least celebrities that are not quite Ronald Reagan, because remember, he was an actor, and people will say, Laura, you work for Reagan, so don't you have a double standard here? No. It's true, I did work for President Reagan. I'm a Reagan conservative. But remember what Reagan did. He spent at least 2 decades studying, reading, debating anyone who would debate him, and writing on politics. He was masterful. He was a successful 2-term governor of California. He ran for president in 1976. He lost the nomination by a hair and then had to come clawing his way back 4 years later to change politics forever. It did not happen overnight. He didn't just write a check or launch into insults against his opponents. He did more than just drive-by hits on his political adversaries or just raise gobs of money for his political friends. I think what most of these celebrities will find out is that the talents that make them megastars in acting, sports, or music don't always translate into politics, at least not without a lot of really hard work. And you can't just issue ad hominem attacks on your political opponents without making a substantive argument at some point. Politics is not ease coverage on the red carpet. There's also a big downside for people in need of adoration. In today's environment, that moment you enter politics, national politics, let's face it, you alienate half the country. Millions of people will instantly dislike you. Many will hate you. Others will lie about you. Still others, just to elevate themselves and win back power, will say vile and hateful things that are demonstrably false. And let's face this, most celebrities have no desire to risk their cushy lives to really mix it up big time in politics. Thinking about it, the only one I can remember post-Reagan who did this is the one celeb, also a businessman like Clooney, that they are now vilifying 24/7. And that's the angle.